Well, world woman feskadus adawamla amin. Besma well, world woman feskadus adawamla amin. Besma well, world woman feskadus adawamla amin. Good morning, and hope everyone's doing good. It's a very long chapter today, so I'm going to go straight into it. Leviticus 26. Give thanks, blessed love. Where's my bookmark? You shall make yourselves no idols, and you shall not raise up a carved image of a pillar, and you shall not place any figured stone in your land to bow down to it, for I am Yahweh your God. You shall keep my Sabbaths and have reverence for my sanctity. I am Yahweh. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, then I will give you your rains in their season, and the land shall yield its increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Your threshing shall continue until the vintage, and the vintage shall continue until the sowing time. You shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely. I will give peace in your land, and you shall lie down, and no one will make you afraid. I will remove evil animals out of the land. Neither shall the sword go through your land. You shall chase your enemies, and you shall fall before you by the sword. And they shall fall before you by the sword. 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall chase 10,000, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. I will have respect for you, make you fruitful, multiply you, and you will establish my covenant with you. You shall eat old supplies long kept, and you shall move out of the old because of the new. I will set my tent among you, and my soul won't abhor you. I will walk above you, and will be your God, and you will be my people. I am Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, that you shall not be their slaves. I have broken the bars of your yoke and made you walk upright. But if you will not listen to me, and will not do these commandments, and if you shall reject my statutes, and if your soul abhors my ordinances, so that you will not do all my commandments, but break my covenant, I will also do this to you. I will appoint terror over you, and even consumption and fever, and shall consume the eyes and make the soul of pine away. You will sow your seed in vain, and your enemies will eat it. I will set my face against you, and you will be struck before your enemies. Those who hate you will rule over you, and you will flee when no one pursues you. If you, in spite of these things, will not listen to me, I will chastise you 7 times more for your sins. I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your sky like iron, and your sword like bronze. Your strength will be spent in vain. Your land won't yield its increase, neither will the trees of the land yield their fruit. If you walk contrary to me, won't listen to me, then I will bring 7 times more plagues on you according to your sins. I will send the wild animals amongst you, which will rob you of your children, destroy your livestock, and make you few in number. Your roads will become desolate. If by these things you won't be turned back to me, but will walk contrary to me, then I will also walk contrary to you, and I will strike you, even I, 7 times for your sins. I will bring a sword upon you, that you will execute the vengeance of the covenant. You will be gathered together within the cities, and I will send the pestilence amongst you. You will be delivered into the hand of the enemy, and I will break your staff of bread. 10 women shall bake you your bread in one oven, and you shall deliver the bread again by weight. You shall eat and not be satisfied. If you, in spite of this, won't listen to me, but walk contrary to me, then I will walk contrary to you in wrath, and I will chastise you 7 times for your sins, that you will eat the flesh of your sons, and you will eat the flesh of your daughters, and I will destroy your high places, and cut down your incense altars, and cast your dead bodies above the bodies of the idols, and my soul will abhor you. I will lay your cities waste, and I will bring your sanctuaries to desolation. I will not take delight in the sweet fragrance of your offering, and I will bring the land into desolation, and your enemies who dwell in it will be astonished at it. I will scatter you among the nations, and I will draw out the sword after you. Your land will be a desolation, and your cities shall be a waste. Then the land will enjoy its Sabbath as long as it lies desolate, and you are in your enemy's land. Even then the land will rest and enjoy its Sabbaths. As long as it lies desolate, it shall have rest, even the rest which it didn't have in your Sabbaths when you lived on it. As for those who live, as for those of you who are left, I will send a faintness into their hearts in the land of the enemies. The sound of the driven leaf will put them into flight, and they shall flee. And one flees from the sword. They will fall when no one pursues. They will stumble over one another as if it were before the sword, when no one pursues. You will have no power to stand before your enemies. You will perish among the nations. The land of your enemies will eat you up. Those of you who are left will pine away in the iniquity of your enemies' lands, and also in the iniquities of their fathers. They shall pine away to them. If they confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers and their trespass, which they trespassed against me, and also that because they walked contrary to me, I also walked contrary to them, and brought them into the land of their enemies. If then the uncircumcised heart is humbled, and they shall accept the punishment of their iniquity, then I remember my covenant with Jacob, my covenant with Isaac, and my covenant with Abraham, and I remember the land, and the land also will be left by them, and will enjoy its Sabbaths, while it lies desolate without me, and they accept the punishment of their iniquity, because they rejected my ordinances, and their soul abhorred my statute. Yet for all that, when they are in the land of the enemies, I will not reject them, nor will I abhor them, to destroy them utterly, and to break my covenant with them. For I am Yahweh their God. For I will by their sake remember the covenant of their ancestors, when I brought out them from the land of Egypt, in the sight of the nations, that I might be their God. They are the statutes, ordinances, and laws which Yahweh made between him and the children of Israel at Mount Sinai by Moses. For these few words I give thanks, blessed love. So that's the penultimate chapter of Leviticus. It is very strong in its message and very strong in what God is ordering, to say that if you are obedient to God, then I'll be obedient to you, and the abundance of blessings are going to be on the people, on the land, and their harvests are going to reap rewards, and they're going to live in peace, they're going to live in harmony, they're going to live in health, etc. So the abundances are very clear. But then it gets stronger, and it says, but if you turn away from me, then that's when I'm going to turn away from you, and your enemies are going to rule over you. And then you heard the kind of list of warnings that would happen to people if they turn away from God. But then it ends up with a sign of kind of reconciliation, leaving the door open to say that if the children turn back to God, then he's not going to forget them in that moment, and he's always going to remember them. He's never going to let them to be destroyed. Even when he's at his most angry, he's going to still keep them in his heart, and because he is Yahweh their God, and that he's leaving the opportunity open for people to come back. And I will not reject them, neither will I abhor them, to destroy them utterly, and to break my covenant with them, for I am Yahweh their God. So even in the most height of anger with his people, he still said he still won't turn his back on them completely, and they are still his children, and he still holds them dear. So yeah, very strong, and similar to much of Leviticus, not always easy reading, and it is the God of the jealous God of the Old Testament. And it's kind of preemptive strike, after all the laws and the statutes that we've seen in Leviticus, and all of the miracles that the people seen with their own eyes, because again, this is God with a direct connection with the people. That it's saying, after all this, remain faithful, because I've given you more than enough evidence to say that, that I exist and I am with you, that I will, that I, and he keeps repeating that I am the one that delivered you from Egypt. So yeah, in fear of kind of repeating myself with other reasonings, I'm not going to go much further, but just to say that final message, the final message from that is that God is still a God of forgiveness, a God of openness, and wanting always the best for humans, in the sense that wanting them to come back to the focused path, where they're doing right by each other, doing right by their neighbour, doing right by themselves, and doing right by the glory of God, to give thanks. So yeah, much to meditate on here, but I'll leave that as an individual kind of meditation, because as I said, it's the fuller context that needs to be appreciated. So yeah, give thanks for these few words and have a blessed day. Hope you have a peaceful day and a focused day, and God willing, we'll be more tomorrow for the final chapter of Leviticus 27. Give thanks, blessings and love.